Free-to-play is on the rise, and no one knows why. So today on our broadcast of Dumb Basses Co., we're here to ask the question, why free-to-play is inevitable.
And predictable. Free-to-play is one of the most polarizing forms of media. Some say, hey, I like this, and some say, burn it with the power of 1,000 suns. And hey, I get it. If you have a big corporation constantly draining every single cent out of your wallet, that might make you a wee bit annoyed. But I'm here to tell you, we are not in the dark timeline. Free-to-play is just inevitable in every single way. And drive home the point, it was so predictable, I'm kind of surprised no one picked up on it. So why don't we look at an example of a free-to-play game, and while we're at it, why don't we use the most iconic free-to-play game ever? Darwin's Project. Sorry about that, I meant Fortnite. Fortnite is in many ways the most popular game ever. I don't believe a single game has ever seen as much popularity in not only free-to-play, but the gaming industry as a whole. Fortnite just seemed to hit that specific little chord that games wish they could. But the big question is, why? Why did Fortnite just seem to click? It was an afterthought. At one point, merely the shadow of the original Battle Royale PUBG, and to make it worse, an add-on to a game that flopped. That flopped? Wait, the BR is more popular? Way more popular. Oh! So they quickly turned their sights on their new baby, Fortnite Battle Royale. This game fucking slammed! In the most serious way possible, this game was perfect. Not only was it a third-person game in a sea of first-person games, but also really just hit the kisser with the mechanics. Basically just being items and buildings. Those buildings were so simple, but so complex. Learning it was easy, but mastering it was and still is not impossible. Bring up a storm for mega tie-in in the gaming industry. The weird history of Fortnite is a video all in of itself. Comment if you'd like to see that video. But why exactly does Fortnite have to be free to play? There are two factors to this question. One is the genre Battle Royale, as a whole, needs to be free to play. Surprisingly, when you're gathering 100 people for a brawl, putting up paid entry isn't the best. But more importantly, popularity. This was less intentional, but something that has been learned about the gaming industry as a whole, is that to be popular, you need as many people as possible to play that game. Take away that paid entry and you could get millions of people to play it within a day. Tack along the brilliance of the Battle Pass and Eureka! You just made the most popular game, period. Because once you got someone hooked, that player may spend more than they would on a full-fledged game on cosmetics alone. It's worked for all the major BRs. Fortnite, Apex, Warzone. They've all made a killing just by letting people spend as much as they want without the initial worry of buying a game. Battle Royale is a genre that must be free to play. But one that doesn't is hero shooters. Yeah, a lot of them are, but a couple aren't that are successful. Like R6 and Overwatch. Oh yeah, silly me, Overwatch is free now, thanks to its sequel, Overwatch 2. Overwatch in many ways was dying. Yeah, they had a loyal fan base, and yeah, it was still a pretty popular game, but they had no money. The game was really successful off rip, earning them millions of players. But being a paid game, there was almost no reason for you to buy anything in the game, because you just unlock it yourself. Given enough time, loot boxes will pay themselves off.
So the desperation made it what no one thought possible.
I don't think it abandoned for a couple years. But it was to make the sequel Overwatch 2 that changed almost nothing and wasn't that worth it at the beginning.
Fuck, I'm really trying here, man.
Even though they left their whole fan base wishing for the sweet release of death, they did eventually bring out Overwatch 2, which revitalized the game. Or so I've heard, I'm still in the queue. Yeah, their launch wasn't the best. But for a game that couldn't sustain itself, it has really turned a new leaf. They aren't perfect, but they are consistently bringing out content, keeping the game fresh, for better and for worse. And once again, if you want a deep dive, just ask me. It's pretty weird and interesting. Now, Fortnite showed why fundamentally a game may need to be free to play in this genre. Overwatch did not have to and did not start that way. So the better question here is, why do some games need to be free to play? And to put it simply, at least in Overwatch cases, and most, it was money. The sweet nectar that they couldn't get with their paid game status. Now that they are a free game, they put it in a Battle Pass, store, new mythic skins, and way too many goddamn currencies. Now yes, they probably got the benefits of being a free-to-play game that Fortnite got, like easier accessibility, popularity, somewhat. Even though Overwatch 2 doesn't have the best reputation, it still stands to show how multiplayer games at some point may need to be free-to-play to keep them alive and wealthy. So I have a question, Batman. What happens when a game that has all the elements of a free-to-play game is in a game that isn't free-to-play? I'm talking about multiplayer, replayability, way too much goddamn monetization, and even crossovers. Now, I'm pointing you at DBD, one of my personal favorite games that I'm still shocked isn't free to play.
So what, you may ask? Is the game dying? This is not gonna last much longer. What will befall this non-free game?
Nothing. In fact, DBD is doing great for itself, and doesn't necessarily need to be free to play. But it would help. Much of the game is locked behind paywalls, and it isn't attracting many new players because, and this is in the case of most non-free games, you attract your audience and then slowly and surely get some new people. Okay, but what is DBD? Well, thanks for asking, my ignorant chum. DBD is an asymmetrical multiplayer horror game where one guy is playing as killer and four are playing as survivor. Killer trying to sacrifice/kill off the four survivors while the survivors are trying to escape to freedom by completing 5 gens and opening up the exit gate, or if you're the last one to hatch. Now, like I said, this game has all the sauce to become a free-to-play game. It's a very replayable gameplay loop for people who have friends or more likely don't. Lots of monetization in the forms of battle passes, skins, characters, crossovers, and yeah, it's multiplayer. How does the game stay alive? You also asked. Well, it uses, like I said, crossovers, ranging from typical slashers like Halloween and Scream, more sci-fi with Stranger Things and Alien, or just people with my boy Nicky Cage. This game keeps itself alive by pandering to the same audience while slowly bringing more and more in with different crossovers. You know, if FNAF or Jason Voorhees came into this game, that would be a huge surge of popularity and people would just come in. Or even. Now, why would a game like this want to be free to play? It seems to have everything a game would want and still keeps going. Now, it doesn't have to be, but if you remember all the way back to the Fortnite section when I said that the initial worry of buying a game, many people, whether financially stable or not, do not want to take the first big step in getting a game. They will stick to the lane and keep going with it straightforward. But free-to-play games make it from a question of should I get it to why shouldn't I at least try it? The game doesn't get most of its revenue from people buying the game. It comes from the same person buying more and more things from the game, just like a free-to-play game. All you're doing by making it free is increasing your odds of more payout. So to answer the question, why is free-to-play inevitable? And the long and short of it is money. Sorry, but when you are basically giving everyone a chance to play your game with hella microtransactions, these games are good and replayable with no entry cost to worry about. It is definitely predictable that this style, once uncovered, would be the gold standard. Now, is there a conversation that the market is a bit oversaturated with these games? Most definitely, yes. But it's a lot more like the natural order of things. Multiplayer games are meant to be enjoyed en masse. Just because they are trying to get you to buy something doesn't mean you have to. Most of these games don't force you to buy gameplay features, just ways to make them more interesting. Whether you like free-to-play or not, you can't deny the impact it has made on the industry and how effective it is. It's kind of like a money generator for these companies, so it's kind of hard to blame them for optimizing their profit margin. But what do you think? I'm curious about your thoughts on this topic, so tell me in the comments. Hope you enjoyed my latest installment of Why, the series where I just ask, why does this thing happen, or why do we do that? And if you like the video I presented you, consider subscribing. And until next time, see ya!